Squirt alert! Wow, can Bitcoin get a weekly candle close in the golden pocket of the last 2.5 years for the first time since February 3rd of 2020? Bitcoin price charts are actually hinting at an exciting breakout, one of the most exciting breakouts since the summer of 2019. Bitcoin currently testing the top of this 2.5-year resistance yet again, the third time in just days. What are the chances Bitcoin explodes, and what are the chances that maybe it doesn't explode? We'll take a look at what specific target Bitcoin would have to reach today to really indicate bullish momentum, and more specifically, what weekly level that we have to get this candle to close at just in a few hours coming up here for this to be a very bullish close on the weekly. Yet again, how close are we to breaking this entire cryptocurrency market cap triangle? It may be closer than you think. And as well, the Bitcoin transaction fees are soaring after the Bitcoin halving. What is the purpose of this? What is the downside? And in fact, what is a maybe solution to this happening? Let's get into it. Wow, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting episode. We have a lot going on today. In fact, maybe Bitcoin is pumping yet again. What are the chances that we do see Bitcoin break above 10K? We're only a few $100s away as we record this video. And again, is that a bad thing? Because will we be creating a gap to the downside? Wow, so much to get into today, guys. A lot going on. If you're new to the channel, make sure to leave that comment, like, subscribe so you can enter to win this ledger. And as well, guys, we're still doing a sale on our best course yet, guys. Make sure to enter JUICE at checkout. Wow, guys, and as well, this is the very last day to get 50% off your Ledger Nano S when you order. Make sure to take advantage, guys. Last day, you're not going to come across an opportunity like this again for a long time. 50% off when you enter We Are the Bull Run at checkout. Link pinned to the comments and in the description. Check it out. Wow, absolutely huge, guys. So let's get into this data here. We see Bitcoin actually breaking above 98. Currently, it's actually a little below that, but will we continue to see this pump over the next roughly 8 hours from the time of me recording this until we get the close on the weekly? These weekly candles are primed, and specifically the target we want to look for this weekly candle to get a very nice healthy close, anything above what we've been talking about, okay, $9,200 US. Currently we're almost $600 above that, and we have, as I'm recording this, about 8 more hours until we get the close for this weekly candle. Will Bitcoin be able to close above that level? I think there's a pretty good chance, unless we would get a massive dump in just a few hours here. What that would do is signal some nice strength on these longer term charts, and as well we could continue with this potentially massive MACD cross. You can already see this bad boy is just full of life so far on the MACD. We want to see that happen. There are people talking about a golden cross on the daily that hasn't come to pass just yet. What are the chances that happens? It has happened in the past where we get death crosses and golden crosses that actually do the opposite of what a lot of people expect. So for example, some golden crosses actually dump the price, and some death crosses actually have pumped the price slightly. Okay, they can be false indicators, but for the most part, they can indicate very strong shifts in momentum. And guys, really just to sum up the rest of the weekly chart, we've had such strong bounces on the 200 weekly, the 100 weekly moving average, and as well, even most recently, the 21 week moving average. So overall, the momentum is really shifting to a very good level here. I think it's very likely that we could potentially be in this actual disbelief phase where, guys, you know what happens after this? Absolute rally mode. I think it's the perfect timing for what it could be. And as well, there's absolute disbelief in these markets. People are just not ready because they've suffered through 2.5 years of fake out after fake out. But guys, are the good times just around the corner? Yes, we definitely think that is very likely. The second half of this year, okay, coming up very soon, and especially the whole year of 2021, I personally think is going to be absolutely game-changing. Game-changer status for cryptocurrency, not just Bitcoin, guys, because you know we love Bitcoin, but there are some select few alts that will definitely pump, and for the most part, most likely a lot of these coins could be pumping at some point. They won't have the longevity at all of Bitcoin, but you would be foolish to say that over the next 2 years, Bitcoin will be the only coin that increases substantially. There will be a handful, okay, in my opinion, for sure. It's your job to find out which ones those are. So guys, as you can see here, we are just still doing it. After finding support on these higher lows right here, we've gotten like higher lows, we've gotten lower highs, consolidation pattern, guys. A break is coming, a massive break. And over time, it's looking more and more likely that break could actually be to the upside. Absolutely massive. So let's zoom out. You guys can see, again, it's still testing this. It is still testing these highs here. It just wants to. It just continues. The moving averages on the daily continue to support, specifically the 21 daily simple moving average, continuing to support Bitcoin, and it just wants to push this thing higher. Now, keep in mind, guys, if we do get a nice pump within the next few hours or before the CME opens tomorrow, again, what that's going to do is create a gap here. For example, let's say we go to 10,000. Let's say we open up at 10,000 on the CME. We'd start the price here, and there would be a gap in this area here. So again, gaps tend to be very reliable, and we could come down and fill that during the week if we do pump, which again is not something that would be unexpected. If we break 10K and if we break this long-term trend here in the short term, this trend specifically, we would most likely still have some sort of a pullback on our way up anyway, because we would want to test and make sure that's actually valid support. And we could see a very big wick to the downside, like we saw a pretty big, very clear filling of this gap pretty much to a T. You guys see, completely filled the gap exactly, then went back down. Now, importantly here on the weekly, we're actually in this golden pocket of the last 2.5 years of this macro trend. We can zoom out and show you everything here. We're still within this trend. And actually, for the first time, we might be getting a candle close within this trend. We've gotten wicks. Last week, we got a wick. And the week before that, we got rejected off of there. But we could be actually getting a wick closing as long as we close above 9,600. Okay, so right now, we're about $200 above that as I'm recording this. If we close above 96, then again, that's even more bullish. The 92 is something we basically need to close above to be short-term bullish. But then again, if we're close above 96, that is even much, much, much better in my opinion. The last time we had some closes here, we had 4 weekly closes here back at the very beginning of February, so 3 months ago, and then we got completely rejected out of this golden pocket. So that was our first major rejection out of this 2.5-year golden pocket in a very long time. Now, this is a crucial area again because we could be spending some time trading in these levels, or we could end up just blasting right past this golden pocket because specifically this level that we're at now is exactly where the golden pocket is now, and it was not back here in February. Okay, it was a little bit higher back here in February. So it's make or break time, do or die, ride or fly time. And overall, for the health of the market, that's what we want to take a look at. But guys, let's take a look at this article now about Bitcoin's price chart hinting at a massive breakout here. Bitcoin price charts hints at one of the most exciting breakouts in over a year. So if Bitcoin closes above what we agree with, the $9,200 level, it's very bullish. So let's actually go over some of this info here. The renewed post-halving retail interest certainly does look like it helped. And potentially even J.K. Rowling tweeting to her 14.6 million followers asking about Bitcoin may have been interesting. But this is what I really want to point out here. It definitely could have sparked public interest in Bitcoin, renewed the public interest. Though if crypto Twitter didn't blow it by acting like absolute donkeys, absolute knuckleheads with cringe replies that no one found funny, let me know what you guys think about that. So I haven't talked about this in the video or mentioned anything above it, but do you guys personally think the way that a lot of people responded to J.K. Rowling, aka the creator of Harry Potter, about her question about Bitcoin? Apparently, I mean, I didn't participate in it. I think it's kind of silly to start, spamming her. But pretty much everyone, from what I've seen, was just like tweeting at her anything they could. There were, thousands of replies to her. And I'm just curious, do you think that was good or bad exposure for Bitcoin? Technically, anything is good exposure. Technically, any exposure is good exposure, you could say. But at the same time, do you think that she thinks that the crypto community is worse off now because of that interaction? Or do you think that maybe she's more likely to be interested in researching it? I'm really curious because apparently a lot of people on Twitter were acting kind of crazy. Each week that supports get lower within this channel. So generally, while this author is bullish on Bitcoin, he does not think a breakthrough above 10K would hold for long. And that's kind of what I actually just said earlier in the video. If we break 10K, we'll probably come back to retest some levels before absolutely blasting off anyway. When you break major support like that, it's not just straight to the moon. There's usually a time where you come back and the market decides, hey, were we really supposed to break this? And if so, continue. And if not, you get rejected again. So to sum it up, closing above 9,200 today would be the single most bullish sign Bitcoin has seen since, this author says, before the 2017 bull run. This would put 99.80 as the next level of resistance. So basically, this is a huge area. It's very crucial that we get a very important break here. Not managing to hold above 92 could push us actually back to about 8,800, which is what we were talking about as had to hold as support over these last few weeks, and it has so far. But that would actually be a short-term, very bearish sign on some of these daily and 4-hour indicators here. And guys, as well, Bitcoin transaction fees soar after Bitcoin's halving. The average transaction fee continues to rise. So let's talk about this a little bit, because if you guys remember, if you guys were here back in 2017, some of you were, some of you weren't. One of the big problems with Bitcoin, and something that really slowed down or just completely ensured that Bitcoin was topped out at 20K, is that transaction fees were ridiculous. They were extremely expensive and they were extremely slow. It could even take days to receive a Bitcoin transaction back then. Everything was so clogged up. I remember looking at it. I remember people reporting on it. It was an absolute, it was chaos. Now, obviously, Bitcoin has gotten better since then. However, you can see it is getting a little clogged. As of like all the hype of the last few days, especially the halving, the average fees continued to soar post-halving. Average fee hit an 11-month high of over $5 on May 15th and May 14th. The blockchain mempool is backed up with 56 megabytes of unconfirmed transactions. The average transaction cost increased over 168% in 4 days alone. Bitcoin fees have been on the rise ever since the turn of the year, and especially since the ramp up of the block reward halving. Typically, the transaction fees on the Bitcoin network experience heavy usage. Competition for space in these blocks causes a race to the top, as users compete to have their transactions included in the next block. So an increase in average transaction fee forces users to choose between sending transfers that are fast but expensive or cheap and slow. So pretty much you have to pay more money if you want it to get through faster. And that'll never change, however. Again, the fact that it is getting clogged up a little bit is not the best sign. And again, whether you guys like it or not, Bitcoin has a lot of life, okay, years and years of promising advancement ahead of it, in my opinion. However, in the meantime, you would be kidding yourself if you didn't think that people were not going to speculate on other cryptocurrencies, and in fact, those cryptocurrencies would also get massive valuations. Okay, even if they don't deserve massive valuations, which most of them do not. Most don't. But that doesn't mean they're not going to get those massive valuations. They are. Some of them will, okay? Don't be a nincompoop, guys. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining, guys. Make sure to check out T4 in the description as well. Get your ledger, guys. This is the last day for 50% off. You would be silly if you wanted one of these to not be buying right now. This is the perfect opportunity. Keep your whistles wet and let's get whistling.